What exactly is pressure, right? Pressure can be plus frames, whether on hit or on block. You have resets, restands, you know what I'm saying? Frame traps is a good example. Knocking the opponent down and applying some pressure there is a good example, such as going for like an Oki or something, or going for like a meaty. You have setups slash traps, you know what I'm saying, as well. What else is there? Cameo fighters obviously can assist you with pressure. Mind games also assist you with pressure. A good example of a mind game, just in general, that can kind of put the opponent in a disadvantageous position on block, because that's essentially what pressure is that if, let me see if it's still recorded, actually, before I do that. Okay. So Johnny Cage is -5 on block here, right? But if you can time this correctly, and I'm talking about his recovery, right? Like, you time the recovery correctly, you will actually be able to armor through what the Gears player is trying to throw out at you, right? It doesn't matter what character it is. Now, I'm not too sure about 6-frame normals, because they come out obviously a frame faster than 7-frame normals and 2 frames faster than 8-frame normals, but for the most part, you can actually just armor through your minus frames. And this puts a certain dilemma in the opponent's mind, because they're like, okay, well, this dude just spent the fucking bar and I don't know when he's going to do it again. So that creates a very dangerous mind game, because, say, for example, the Gears player was just to sit there and block. This opens up an opportunity for me to obviously go for a throw on whatever direction. And also another thing, staggers is also another form of pressure. Say, for example, you've conditioned the opponent to believe that you're always committing into these strings. So in their mind, they're believing that you're going to commit into one of the two options. They just have to figure out which one and block it correctly. You might even be able to fuzzy guard that situation that Johnny Cage has access there, which is technically some form of an option select, which, for people who don't know, I'm not a fan of it, but it is what it is. So, say, for example, they're used to seeing you do that, right? Then all of a sudden, like, you do like 2-1 and then you grab, or you do standing 2 and then you grab. You know what I'm saying? So that can cause a serious dilemma for the opponent just in general, because now their brain is like, wait, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Now, obviously, being overly predictable and having certain habits can become your demise, and a more skilled opponent will be able to exploit this to their benefit. However, everybody has habits. Eventually, if you can acknowledge that, and what I mean by that is like, if you see it in a match, like, you keep doing this, right, and you notice that they're reacting to it and they're punishing it or doing whatever, you can recognize that, because if the opponent's skilled enough, they're definitely going to recognize what you're doing. Like, say, for example, every time you go for a down one, you jail it into 2-1-2. That's your response, right? Like, you keep doing that shit, right? And you keep doing this. Now, in a sense, you probably don't even know it, but you're technically conditioning the opponent. So then they're so confident in believing that you're going to go for the overhead that they, once they get jailed, they immediately just stand up. So what happens here is, like, you got a plethora of options. Like, you could potentially backdash, catch them off guard. They're probably not understanding what's happening. That could throw them off guard. You might jump. That can catch them off guard. You know what I'm saying? You can actually commit into the low. That'll catch them off guard. You might commit into a grab. That can catch them off guard. Like, you don't want to be predictable when it comes to pressure. And, when it comes to pressure, you got to know how to use it and when to use it. And I think that's actually really important to understand, because, a lot of times, people, they go straight for the jugular. You know what I'm saying? They just do it. They just throw out all their cards and shit like that. Even if the opponent is aware that Johnny Cage has access to mix-ups, you can make it very difficult for them to pinpoint what you're trying to do and when you're going to do it. You understand what I'm saying? And you have to be in the opponent's mind. Yeah, like, you got to be on your shit, right? Now, in the neutral, right, technically zoners can apply some level of pressure where it makes it difficult for you to close the distance, or it leaves you on block all the time. Pressure in the corner is a good example, especially with a character like Johnny Cage, especially if he's paired up with the right cameo fighter. Even being within footsie range of the opponent, you can apply pressure here. So yeah, like I said, there's many layers to pressure, but I think that's a good majority of them just in general. Now, like I said before, option selects do exist, but I'm not a fan of it, so I'm not going to talk about it, because I don't give a fuck about it. I don't like it. Other people do, so they'll probably talk about it, but I don't support it. That's just my opinion. You take it however you want. I don't really care. But At the end of the day, this is everything about pressure so far, at least to my knowledge. Obviously, there might be some other things. Obviously, cameo fighters can assist you with that pressure that you're trying to dish out on the opponent when they're blocking. But yeah, it's just, knowing how to apply it is important. Obviously, you want to pressure the opponent because you don't want them pressuring you, then you get fucked up. Now, another thing is that you have grappling characters. Unfortunately, in NRS fighting games, they don't have a true grappling character. And whenever they do have a true grappling character, they make it to where like the character's kind of stupid. So like a prime example is like Mortal Kombat X, Commando Kano, that yellow chest piece that he has. It changes color to like blue and red. The yellow piece is the Commando variation. Kano is technically a grappler, right? But like they give him stuff in the neutral where he can challenge you in the neutral as well. And then when he gets in, his pressure is actually not bad at all, including the mind game and the potential mix-up of the command grab that does substantial amount of damage without you having to spend any resources, right? So it like I said, like a better example of a true zone. Not zoner, but a true grappling character is Zangief. If you look at Zangief, you look at his tool set, whether you look at his normals, his unique combo strings or attacks, excuse me, or you look at like his special moves, you can tell clear as day Zangief is a true grappler. Like you know what I'm saying? Like what's interesting about Zangief, which is interesting for the most part, is the fact that like he's a grappler that does a lot of damage if he can grab you and throw loop you continuously, especially if the opponent's not being overly predictable and knowing when the opponent is looking for it and when they're not, and knowing how to catch them off guard. But like his combo potential isn't the greatest, right? However, like in NRS fighting games, right, there's no real like understanding of what a grappler character is, if that makes any sense. You understand what I'm saying? But yeah, for the most part, I think that this is everything that I want to talk about in this video. I'll probably make some more little tips and trick videos so that way you guys can obviously put your foot through the door, and then eventually with the experience that you'll end up getting, possibly if you lab hard enough or you lab just in general and take some time, then you'll be able to close that door, and then the next person will do the same shit you did and keep going. But other than that, I don't really have anything else to add here. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.